WEMFradio.com.
Sweet. Hey, I'm Pat B.
And I'm Adam Willis.
And I'm just Johnny.
And this is the Geek Down on WEMF.
Forward bionically.
Vibe with me. Oh, man, right on cue. I dig it. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, I'm feeling it tonight. I'm out. I'm getting this. Oh, I'm holding. Sorry, choking on my own excitement tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Geek Down here on WEMF. I am Pat B. I turn it over to my left and my main man.
Black Adam Willis.
What you time
Like
delay,
that
my man?
dramatic pause that was going?
Oh, just building tension. That was going on?
That's exactly what it was.
Okay.
Did it work?
Nah,
Feel good?
Nah,
Yeah.
I'm just worried about you a little bit. Actually, no, I guess that is the effect, isn't it?
It's exactly
It's like,
the
oh my
effect,
God,
yeah.
is he going to make it? Is he okay? What's going on?
How you doing, Patrice?
I'm chilling, man. I'm
Yeah.
okay. Just good things, bad things all around. My knees acting up. I'm a
My knees hurt.
I'm a 100-year-old
That's
man.
how you know is storm's coming, actually.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like, what happens
When
when
your
you
hip starts bothering you, I'll know there's a real issue going on.
Yeah, man. Every time the tidal wave, I get boogie fever.
It's a massive landslide in Europe.
Yeah, I'm doing okay, man. Got a bit of bronchitis going on, and listeners may hear me sound a little hoarse.
Yeah, I'm a little hoarse as well. Like I've had a little bit of phlegm, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like scratchy voice.
You too?
It doesn't make my voice sound sexier though, where I think yours
What, me?
probably contributes to.
I don't know
how
what
big
you're
you sound.
talking about, Adam. Nah,
Right.
man. Nah. Okay, so I'm hoarse, you're hoarse, Jigsaw's beating a dead horse, man. It's
Mm.
going all around. It's going all around.
It's contagious, yeah.
All right, how about you, Johnny? You okay?
I'm feeling great, man.
This
Well, the hell with you, then.
Son of a mother. Look at All right, now we have an awesome show lined up for you. We got Jigsaw.
Mhm.
Oh, why?
Yeah, we got a Wheelman review.
Absolutely, starring Frank Grillo. I haven't seen him since the Marvel movies.
Oh man, I love Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo's
And
all
I'll
right.
tell you all about why I love Frank Grillo.
Oh, okay. The anticipation builds.
Yeah.
All right, after that, dude, I'm going to give you the inside stuff on Stranger Things 2.
If you didn't already binge it this weekend.
Well, the
Yep.
thing is, it's already called Stranger. I can't even say Stranger Things the Strangening.
Strangers is things.
Stranger Things, this time it gets weird.
Rip off of every 80s thing you loved.
Actually, I can't hate him. I thought it was a decent homage.
Sure, you know. Yeah.
All right, well,
I have not yet finished it, so I can't really have an opinion. So
okay.
They
It might be very
dig
good.
some nostalgia.
Okay, don't leave
Nostalgia seems to
that.
be-
I mean, you tried. I saw your direction, but I've never seen anyone face plant harder on a pun.
You notice I just ignored it.
That was the right move, my friend. No. Of course, you are hearing us courtesy of the man who keeps it sounding crisp and delicious every week, DJ Herbie Herb. That guy. All right, dude, let's jump right into it, man, because,
Okay.
I mean, like, I really want to let Cass know now. I got to see a picture this weekend that is the latest in the franchise called Jigsaw.
Which is another movie in the Saw
The
franchise, of
Saw
course.
franchise. And
Which
this
is,
one's
did you...
called a cash grab.
Which of these movies are wildly popular, which I don't know why. I remember the first one kind of came out and it surprised people, but the
Well, yeah, the
sequels
first
were
one's
all
had-
just trash.
Yeah, I
trash,
think they
trash.
had like a solid idea for one movie and maybe a sequel, and after that they just realized, yo, this thing is a license to print money, and they just kept making them for no real.
It comes from a long line of horror franchises that have done that. I mean,
Well,
like,
yeah,
how many Friday the 13th? How many Nightmares on Elm Street where it just gets comical? They get more funny than scary.
Well, I
towards
wouldn't
the
call
end.
Saw funny per
No,
se.
I'm not saying this one in particular, but
Okay.
like Nightmare on Elm Street turned into more of a comedy.
But we
than
like
it did
that
of a
though,
horror
because
movie. Yeah,
okay,
right.
no, I see what you're saying, and I can probably shed some light on that. When we start to like the villain,
Right.
we want to see more of their antics.
Yeah,
And
but
when
if you
they're-
start to like the villain, the
Mhm.
kind of the horror thing of like, oh, is this girl gonna escape? Doesn't really matter anymore. Because like, I hope she doesn't. I hope he slices her up and says something really funny about it.
Well, I think the thing about Saw is you get the sense that, okay, maybe if they were a better person, they can escape. But Jigsaw's whole thing is, these are people who I'm giving redemption to. These are folks who I put in this trap because they did something horrible in life, but this is their penance. I'm giving them an opportunity to own up to it, and then by doing so, they'll live.
See, I don't
You know,
like
all they
that
have to do is
whole
play the game.
that whole thing where like the killer only kills evil people in some way, trying to justify it so you feel better about you watching this mutilation
You
and
like
this
when
horrible
it's just-
stuff.
when it's
Kind of like
pointless
Dexter, you know what I
violence.
mean? Oh well, he's killing pedophiles and bad people. Like he's still a psychopathic murderer. Like
Very
you're not
true.
like it cheapens it in a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, then, my
I
friend,
don't
you
buy
will love this movie.
it.
Because all pretense of, well, Jigsaw's just doing the righteous act of giving people a second chance. Yeah, that's out the window. Because this is just like, Jigsaw is some kind of Bond villain like super criminal in this.
Right.
All right, he's devised traps, and he's got like properties. He's got layers. He's got secret layers where he's holding people and then establishing these really
the time
elaborate.
to set that up by yourself.
Well, dude, that's
You know
what
what I
I'm
mean?
wondering, man. The first, okay, I'll give it to him.
Nobody's
The
helping
first
him?
Saw was someone who had a couple of resources, but everything else was fairly cheap. You know, this is something that, okay, I'm just a regular guy, but something snaps. And I decided to trap people in my basement. He's building things that you could feasibly do
Right.
with those kind of
Like
resources.
you got like handcuffs and a bear trap or something.
Yeah,
you know what I
you
mean?
go to
Like,
you go to
you get that.
you go to an army surplus store and a hardware store, and you've got your first set of traps.
Right.
You know, you kidnap Dr.
Right.
Phil and Shaq and put him in that thing like a scary movie. But no, it was all kept within due bounds, and there was essentially a message, even if kind of ham-fistedly thrown at you.
Yes.
You know, Johnny, you seem like you this movie I feel lost that. Johnny, what's on your mind?
Nothing. I mean, I've watched the first 5, maybe 6. I don't know. Like
You stuck
like
with it.
3,
Wow.
4, 5, and 6 were like a blur to me. Like I have no clue what went on. The story got way too convoluted because they were always jumping back into things that were going on in the first movie and in the second movie, and sort of interweaving. You know,
It's like, remember when I killed that guy this way?
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
great. Anyways.
So did they do that kind of crap in this movie? Because
Yes
it
and
made
no.
the movies way too hard to follow in 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. Well, yes and no. This movie did this latest installment of Jigsaw, it took place on 2 different fronts, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it's partially a prequel, partially an ultimate sequel, like a sequel to the last movie as well. So it's kind of a weird angle to come at it from. But I thought they were doing something interesting, and by the end I was like, okay, I see what they were going for. And if this wasn't total crap, then this would have been really interesting.
So this movie's trying to like bookend itself, almost.
Well, yes, but also kind of leave the door open for a continuance.
Obviously, you have to have that.
Well, they shouldn't do that. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
It's like you had something where you kind of could have been like, okay, we've wrapped it up and closed the door. Fine. If anyone's really a hardcore fan, this would have told you a little bit. This kind of gives what's his name? Jigsaw's origin story, John Kramer's origin story. But the way it introduces it is a complete MacGuffin. Like everything is a very convenient plot device in this, and you can tell this was a movie written to squeeze those last couple of bucks out of the Saw franchise.
Like, what else can we know? You know.
Well, I mean, it's set up so that the previous Saw movies were, okay, I have these things, I'm gonna make traps out of them for people. Cool. This movie somehow, this dude has all the resources in the world, he's got all the time in the world, and he's not only by himself, mind you, able to set up traps, kidnap people, maintain his day-to-day, his Monday cover, still interact with the working world, and get all this stuff to work, and have blueprints just floating around there for future traps he's going to make. Everything that takes place in this, and the actual trapping itself. Now, mind you, if anyone's just going in this for the gore, there are some like nasty parts.
Are they? Yeah.
Like this is proper Saw disgust.
Over the top. How
Well,
creatively can we destroy these people?
Well, Saw was never originally over the top. Like it got over the top around like maybe 3.
Yeah, there were
4.
some pretty gnarly scenes, but it was more like
Well, pretty much
Yeah.
all of them. Even the first one had like some major gore scenes.
Well,
yeah, he like
I
sawed
think
his
I
own
think
leg off.
especially.
Yeah.
The second one really upped the ante on the gore.
I think the second one toned it down actually, because I mean, it was more like, imagine yourself in the situation. It wasn't like, oh god, it's gonna be gory. It's just, oh god, that's so internally painful. Like the ultimate Saw trap to me was the most basic thing ever. It's like find the key to exit this room, but the key is in this pit. What's in this pit? Needles.
Yeah.
That to me is the ultimate trap, because it's not, oh, some big thing's gonna crush me
Wasn't
or
it when
some
there's
gun's
like
gonna go off.
There's a key
It's just
inside somebody too.
that was the first one. The key was
inside.
behind the guy's eye, right? It's been a while.
I don't remember.
Right,
But
you had to
yeah,
dig
I
out his
remember he had to
eye.
like dig through.
Yeah. But in the second one, because that's just like you have to like destroy a part of your body to get salvation. This
Yeah.
was just no. It's a thing you have to do. There's no effort in this trap besides it's somewhere in this pit. Reach down and get it.
It kind of takes
But
like
it's what's in the pit.
a
It's
thing
just so.
from Seven when one of the sins was she had a hand in one hand it was sleeping pills, and the other hand was a phone, and they cut off her nose, and she had the choice. Basically, you know, you can kill yourself or you can make the call. But
Vanity,
it was
my
like,
friend.
you know.
What would you make in that? What choice would you make in that situation?
If my nose was cut off, if I was like I don't know.
No?
I'd probably do both. I'd probably take a few sleeping pills and then call. Like, I'm gonna pass out for a few hours because I'm in pain, but like, please get here and save me.
Oh, see, I'd take the opportunity to go full Dark Man. You know,
Yeah?
it's like you
Just
wrap up the face, you got no
yourself up.
nose now, but you're halfway there. You know, maybe you cut off a couple lips and you talk like.
Darkman's such a forgotten gem. Oh my god.
It's time to attack vengeance. It's time to attack. Oh, let's start that dude from Knock Gills too. So it's like after the Taken movies, Liam Neeson's gone a long way to forget Dark Man.
Oh
Dark
man,
Man, anyone who doesn't know was
I love that movie.
well, Dark Man, anyone who doesn't know was a
Sam
pretty much
Raimi
like
movie.
an underground Sam Raimi film because it was released in theaters, but like no one remembers it today.
Yeah, it's a guy that's is a scientist, and this organization kills him, but first they try to kill him, but they disfigure him, they dump him in acid, and all his flesh is destroyed, but he does all this research on like skin grafting stuff.
His research was to revolutionize, what was it for burn victims?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like he's already in that field, but now he goes underground and he's trying to get his life back together and get revenge, obviously.
The ultimate revenge.
But his superpowers, basically, he had no stoppage of adrenaline.
It was all he couldn't feel pain, right?
And he couldn't feel pain, and basically had unlimited strength because his adrenal glands were all screwed up, and so he was just like super strong.
Yeah, he was like the proto Kick-Ass, but also looked like beef jerky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it was cool. He had all the bandages, and he was like kind of like not a heroic figure, but he was doing great things.
He was a figure. He was like the Crow.
Right.
He's not necessarily a hero, but he's like the spirit of vengeance.
He's just there to kick some ass.
Yeah, he was the spirit of kicking
ass. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Dark Man. That has nothing to do with Saw. Saw, or rather Jigsaw, is a movie I feel that's lost its way, which is a daggone shame because it stars like Tobin Bell is in this.
Okay.
Like he does actually return to the role, and it's not all in flashback, so they do some new stuff with him. And they took an interesting turn with that at the end. I feel though that the whole thing was very, it was very like TV movie. You know, this would be like a better sci-fi movie, instead of a worse
like a great
in
sci-fi
theaters
movie.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was a movie on the Sci-Fi Channel, this actually would have been pretty dope. I would watch it, and you can tell by the cast it probably was meant for sci-fi. It's got Tobin Bell, of course, but also the leads are Laura Vanderwoort, Matt Passamori, Mandela Van Peebles. That's Mario Van Peebles' son. Son, or I think son. I'm pretty sure son.
His name is Mandela.
Mandela.
Yeah, it's probably
Mandela.
son.
One of the blackest names you can give your son. Second blackest name, Black Adam Willis.
Correct.
Yeah. Gotta work on your black accent, man.
My black accent?
Your black accent. You can like,
so good.
Adam, how you doing? Yeah. All right.
I don't want to be too offensive.
No, it's okay. I'll give you a pass just this once.
Just this once. Fair enough.
But no, what I'm getting at is this is the cast of, I won't say relatively unknowns, because I believe a couple of them have done things on TV. But this is not a cast of like big Hollywood names, so you think, no, the movie's getting back to its roots, man. It's not going for like big name actors. It's just going for like a better story.
Danny Glover in the first one?
It didn't have the better story. In the first one?
Wasn't Danny Glover in the first one?
Adam, back me up here.
In the first Saw? Can you look that up?
As the cop?
Yeah, he was a cop.
I remember Donnie Wahlberg was. Donnie Wahlberg was
remember.
around there, but I don't remember Danny Glover.
Yeah,
maybe I'm mistaken. Dude, it's been years. Okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's been, the last Saw movie was 2010?
Early. The last one.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's been a while.
Exactly. It's been that long since you can't even remember. It's been that long since we've gotten a new Saw movie.
It was during that, maybe like 2012.
2012. Okay, but right enough time for people who've kind of forgotten about them, kind of let them slip by the wayside. No one's really thinking about when's the next Saw coming out.
This is the first one.
Danny Glover's in the tent. Okay.
Okay. So
But Danny Glover, the first time he was too old for the shit. So we got this Saw movie. No one really asked for it, and it feels like they kind of half-assed it just to get a cash grab, just to squeeze some money out of the Saw franchise and go out on a middling note. I'm a little bummed out that it wasn't a better movie because it had what everyone would expect from Saw, these really intricate traps, but also in really unrealistic situations where this dude he's got so many circular saws, just like everywhere. I don't think there's a single hardware store that would carry this many saws in its
like
inventory.
If you buy that many saws, too, someone's like, I don't know, like maybe put him on a watch list.
Oh yeah, no, someone should have been asking questions.
Yeah. Maybe he owns a lumber mill.
No, he does not own a lumber mill.
No.
Although, ironically enough, for this movie, he owns a lumber mill.
Really?
No, the whole thing is
That's so bad.
Conveniently forgotten in the rest of the series. Jigsaw, Tobin Bell just happens to own a farm where all this stuff is at his disposal.
There we go. Yeah, makes sense.
The location's conveniently at his disposal. All this new equipment running, well-oiled.
So these people are like independently wealthy too. It's just like
it's ridiculous. And not just the copycats. Like we're talking about Tobin Bell himself. We're talking about Saw himself, John Kramer.
Oh, he's still alive. What happened to his?
I won't break that part.
I can't remember what happened to his cancer. He like either had cancer, didn't have cancer, saw it out the cancer.
He's been dead since like before the first movie. This dude, I think they killed him in the third one. They killed him properly in the third one, and it's been copycat since. This movie does something different with that. I want to tell you what it was would be a spoiler, but I'll say I would recommend you see this if you're a fan. But I'm giving this a thumbs down, dude. This was such a half-assed attempt at a Saw.
It's like a throwaway Halloween movie. I'm surprised there wasn't more horror movies kind of being released around this time.
I'm surprised too, man. Halloween, especially this year, has been big.
What is it? There was another
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day was totally awesome.
Yeah,
you gotta see Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day was so good.
The worst name ever for
Happy Death Day. Yes. Well, it was gonna be called. It had a more Live Die Repeat-esque original title.
Okay.
And I remember that one didn't test well.
They scrapped it.
Yeah.
When it comes to Netflix, it'll have a different title.
It might, but possibly, Happy Death Day was a good movie. It killed what was the
made some money too.
Yeah, no, it was the #1 movie. It crushed something big, and I forget what.
Not it.
No, not it. Something came after it. It crushed something that came after it. Well, anyways, Jigsaw starring Gas on the Air, starring Tobin Bell, Laura Vanderwood. Decent performance by Callum Keith Rennie, because you're not supposed to like him, and he sells it really quick as an unlikable guy.
Actors, basically.
Well, I will say, this dude Matt Passmore, he's like the only one in the movie that gets. He's the only one that's like in on the gag. Mm-hmm. So he's the one that's like cracking. He's cracking jokes as we as the audience are cracking jokes. And normally that would like really piss me off in a movie like this. But it's so ridiculous. Everything is so unbelievable. It's so over the top. Like he's got lasers. Jigsaw has lasers. The little Jigsaw puppet
like
now.
Like lasers that sever stuff.
Like lasers that sever stuff.
Okay.
And not just like one. He constructed out of every random bit of.
Where does he have the nuclear reactor to power that?
Exactly, dude. That's the thing, man. So Jigsaw has lasers at his disposal. The CG in this one is like way out of bounds.
He's got plutonium at his house. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But I will say, this dude Matt Passmore, we're like, this is ridiculous. As the audience, we're thinking this, and he in the movie will say, well, this is ridiculous. And we're like, yes.
You're watching a shitty movie.
When he sees this ridiculous like cybernetic, glowy-eyed Jigsaw puppet. That seems to replace the little crab. Remember the little crabby Jigsaw puppet?
Yeah.
We like the little crabby puppet on the tricycle.
Had like little circles on its cheeks.
Yeah. Now it's an android. It's like an evil Commander Data.
And he's an app on it.
Did they go Jason X on this?
Not quite to that level, and you'll understand why.
They will with the next one.
But anyone who's not a fan, don't see it. Don't
Leprechaun in space.
Just let it die in peace. If you have any happy memories of the previous movies, let this one go. I got to give it a thumbs down, and I kind of hate that because since I like to see movies with like all kind of, I don't want to say no-name actors, but unknowns really do big things. This was not the vehicle for it, man.
Well, usually
Jigsaw,
Hollywood movies that are horror and around this time, if they're unknowns, they're going to be dead within the first 15 minutes of the movie anyway.
Well, true, but Happy Death Day was a movie with unknowns, and it did crazy numbers.
It did well.
All right, okay, so that's Hollywood doing like mediocre things. Tell us about Netflix. How's Netflix faring with Wheelman?
Netflix. This is another Netflix release, which is they're doing a bunch of good stuff now. A lot of original movies, a lot of original programming, and this new one called Wheelman, a very blunt title, directed by Jeremy Rush, a really apt name to direct such a feature. And this is, I think, is his first time as a writer-director. But this stars the great Frank Grillo, and you're a Frank Grillo fan.
Yeah, I like Frank Grillo's work. He's good at playing an unlikable douche, and I'm just like, wow, that
But
dude.
yes and no,
he's perfect at that. No,
I think
I
most
listened to
people saw him
interviews
in Captain America. I think that's
Yeah, no,
where
totally got
most
that
people know him.
sense.
But the first time I saw him, he was in the movie Warrior, that Tom Hardy
Yes,
movie.
yeah, he was
MMA
the
one.
trainer.
Yeah, and he was so good in that. He was so believable. He has this like kind of this air of like authenticity that I really find works well with him.
Yeah, what's
But
messed up is I heard, well, not messed up. What's interesting is I heard an interview with him just after Warrior, and he described his routine. I mean, I thought Tom Hardy had like a crazy workout routine, or even The Rock, where it's like I eat like 19 chickens a day and stuff.
right.
His is he doesn't eat anything but like water and celery when he's in like a training thing.
It's funny
And
because
just
in
like,
that movie he doesn't even really fight. He's just a trainer. You don't see him do anything physical.
yeah, but
he's
it's
in the
like
shape.
he's got to have that look,
Yeah.
and to get that look, it's just like he describes his routine. I'm just like, how are you not? It's almost like do you remember when Christian Bale was
just
training
down
for
to like a latte and an apple a day for the machinist. Yeah,
yeah, it's borderline that there, and I'm like, how do you get the energy to actually work out when you don't eat anything?
Yeah,
period?
I guess you adapt, and it kind of gets you in that headspace.
Yeah,
more than
so
anything.
he's a guy to respect, man. He's really serious about the craft.
No, I'm really pumped, and I was really happy to see him in a movie taking the lead too. You know what I mean? Kind of taking the reins.
Yeah,
so
tell me about this, because I know Wheelman is like a getaway driver for
yeah,
like,
this
bank jobs
follows
for criminal activity.
a long list of movies of the heist movie, the car chase movie is a subgenre, and immediately when you kind of watch a movie like this, you rank it against all the great movies that came before of the car chase genre.
Mm-hmm.
You go to immediately think of Bullet, French Connection, the 7-Ups, Ronin. Everyone has their list of great car chase movies. I don't know if this one exactly enters it, but I will say it's a very unique movie in this genre. It follows a very basic plot where a heist goes wrong, and then all of a sudden he has to get himself out of it. It's the most basic car chase plot line ever.
Okay.
But what's unique about this movie is the way it's shot and the way we follow the action, because almost entirely the movie is shot within the car. There's nothing outside of it. So it's basically the back of his head and his side. So we're watching him inside this very confined space. And so all the action takes place in there. So Frank,
is that why I couldn't find so many like marketing images to throw up?
Right, there's not like a car like screeching through traffic. You know what I mean? A lot of the problems with shooting action movies in general, especially now, is like the rapid cutting, the fast-paced editing, everything. You don't get to see the action happen. It's way too like blurry.
Yeah,
gives
you
you a
can
little bit of headache.
You can blame like the Transporter and the Fast and Furious movies for making that popular.
So many movies are featured that way, and they're all terrible. But this movie is
hold it.
Not all of them, but it's a really gives me more of a headache to watching that style of action movie than anything.
All right.
Like I said, so the plot basically, he's on a job with he's the getaway driver for this robbery that's about to take place, and the people that is doing the robbing, he just met like 15 minutes earlier. All of a sudden, while he's waiting for the people to come out, he gets a phone call saying that he needs to take off and leave the robbers behind.
Oh, really?
And so they say he will kill them if he doesn't do it. So he chooses to believe him, and then while he's on the run, leaves the robbers behind. He's still on the phone, and they're saying that they will kill his family unless they do everything he says. So that puts everything in motion. So he is on the phone. It's kind of like the movie Lock. You ever watched the movie Lock, where it's basically all takes place within a car? It's another Tom Hardy movie, and he has to go to a destination, but the entire time he's in a car and he's on the phone. So it's a little bit like that in theme. And now, like I said, it's all taking place within the car, and it's just a fascinating way to do this movie, because you're not going to do really anything different. Like I said, the plot is so basic. So how do you spice it up? How do you bring any life to it? So you kind of shoot it a different way. You take the style, you add a little bit to it. And like I said, this movie doesn't work unless...
You don't get Frank Grillo.
Yeah, this movie doesn't work unless you're Frank Grillo. Okay. You know what I mean? So you get a very serious actor, and he carried this movie. I mean, it's basically him in every scene.
You sound impressed.
And so I am impressed. I thought it was done in a unique way. It follows a long line of very serious, intense movies that people really adore, with all the car chase movies, like I mentioned before. But I think this holds up really well compared to a lot of those movies. So this is really something I was impressed by. Given that Netflix kind of put it away, I was like very surprised to see it. I saw something with Frank Grillo in it. I was excited, and so I checked it out. Yeah, and he's fantastic. The movie was really well done. I was really impressed.
Okay, dude. I'm jazzed to hear that, man. One thing I like I've always loved a good car chase movie, and we don't get car chase movies anymore. We get things like I mentioned Transporter, which Transporter is a series that has come into its own, but it's more about like the actions outside of the car, the fight scenes and such. And Fast and the Furious started off as a movie that was centered around the chases. Now it's just, I mean, they're flying cars between buildings. Okay, it's completely out of that realm there.
Right.
And besides maybe Baby Driver.
Yeah, I think with this and Baby Driver, it's kind of that genre has kind of been revived a little bit.
I love that.
What I mean? Awesome. It's a very interesting movie. The movie Drive, obviously, Nicholas Winding Refn with
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Why do I want to say Harry Gosling? What the hell's Harry Gosling?
Harry Gosling. But that was a very good movie.
It's a very Harry Gosling.
Very Harry Gosling movie.
That's what I call my. No.
But it was that was a great movie, and they did a lot of scenes inside the car as well. You know what I mean? A lot of that firsthand kind of driving experience. And so, yeah, this is another one in the long line of movies that of the car chase genre. That's
nice, dude. What do
really
you say?
Good. I would definitely give it a thumbs up.
Nice thumbs up.
And it's free if you have a Netflix subscription, so you can always just.
Herb's over there taking notes. This man told me he does not have a Netflix account. And I know he's just like chomping at the bit.
He's a Hulu
so
guy
much good stuff.
Of Seinfeld.
Oh, really?
I actually do have Hulu.
Oh, ew! No, don't say that out loud. That's disgusting.
I have Hulu too. Actually.
Oh, what?
What's wrong with Hulu?
I thought I knew you, man. What's going on?
I just watch Home Improvement in bed.
Exactly. You disgust Johnny over there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite car chase movies? Do you have one?
Favorite.
Do you have like a top 3 car chase movies? I think everyone probably has in some way.
You know what? I'm really struggling not to throw the French Connection in there because everyone's really crazy about the French Connection, not the greatest car scene. If you ever seen it, it's in the most ridiculous movie with the ultimate, well, not ultimate, but with this really racist cop, Popeye Doyle.
Yeah, really big anti-hero.
Yeah. I'll go old school. Bullet.
Yep.
Was a good one. Bullet had Steve McQueen racing through the streets of San Francisco. So there's a lot of like jumps over like these narrow streets.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yep. And everyone's really jazzed about this long take that's in there. It's really popular, which I think is probably the low point of the chase, where the camera the camera loses sight. It's just so intense, but it's realistic. It's like, no, what happened is the cameraman screwed up. And he turned the camera like off the action for a minute because it was like dusty, and it was by pure luck that the cameras came back on shot, so that this dude screwed up, man. Like, watch this footage
royally
and see, but it's still.
But they made the best out of it.
Yeah, but it's still a damn good chase scene. I'll say that's number 3. Number 2. Did you see? It's not really a car chase per se. It's the helicopter chase in the first Mission Impossible. With Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Dude, it was badass.
There's him there's the train, and then they have a helicopter.
Yeah, because it's a chase. It starts off as, it's a standard chase movie. How the hell are you going to do it? And then it's like, you have a helicopter chasing a train. Well, it's a train. It's on tracks. How are they going to really... It's a train going over bridges. It's a train going...
And then in a tunnel where there's a helicopter in a tunnel.
Yeah, and the fact that, part of it was practical effects. That's what makes it one of the great chases for me. Because it's just really beautiful.
Yeah, that was the start of Tom Cruise as the uber action hero.
I like Tom Cruise's like acting. So when it became all action, that kind of tainted it for me.
Right.
I will say though, and I mean, you're gonna hate me for this one because we talked about Transporter, which had some great ones. And I'm not gonna throw in Death Proof. Don't worry about that garbage. No, overhyped BS. But you're really gonna hate this one. Fast 5. Fast 5.
You know what? I hate that franchise. I like that movie.
Yeah,
that's the only Fast and Furious movie I actually enjoy.
Okay.
And that's all I'll say about that. That is actually a good movie. But there is some ridiculousness in that.
Yes,
are you talking about the one where they're pulling the safe?
Yes, they're pulling the safe through. And the thing I like about it so much is it's not just we threw a chase scene in to throw a chase scene because there's cars. They worked it out and like a good 20-30 minutes of the movie is them working out different ways to do this chase because it's planned out. And I like that they show you they put in the work. So even though the end result is completely unrealistic, you get the sense that these guys worked at it. They assessed variables.
They almost explained it a little bit.
Yeah, and
they gave you a little primer.
I love that so much because that's what I love in a car movie. It's technical. They got down to like nitty-gritty details, and then they still did like a It's just the freaking thing is dragging the safes through the streets of Brazil.
They're using the thing they stole as a weapon too. As they start swerving the cars, and all of a sudden the safe is destroying the other
beautiful.
cars. Yeah,
it's like straight out of a video game, dude.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Yeah. But it's wonderful because you have this thing, and now it's a tool, and now it's a weapon, and now it's like your defense. It was, and the ending was clever. Like at the end, they worked it out.
Yeah, I did like that.
That's my top, and I know that's kind of a sin to say that's my top, my number one.
Yeah, that should be your number one. But
no, that's my number one, dude. Because these things, entertainment value especially.
You're allowed to like whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay, how about you, brother? What's going on?
I don't know. I don't really know. The top, probably Vanishing Point is up there.
Okay, Vanishing Point is a good one.
Yeah. I liked Fury Road recently. Too. You know what? No,
it is the epitome of a chase movie. Okay.
Film.
None of the Max movies ever did it for me, and I was hoping. I mean, I love the movies. Well, I love some of the movies. The Tina Turner BS and the pregnant kids.
Take it easy. I like that one.
Okay, but no, Mad Max movies. They should be all about these badass cars in the desert, and I mean, especially the first one. Everyone raves about how they had. I mean, the movie itself was originally a documentary about these cars. About these like quote unquote supercars, but they get lost in this ridiculous story of this one dude. Is he shell shocked? Is he not? Does he have a family? Does he? Nah.
Yeah.
And I think they lose their way after a while, which is kind of unfortunate because Fury Road, I love that movie, but not so much for the chase. You really like the chase in that?
Yeah, I liked a lot of that. I just like the armies of cars. You know what I mean? And like the weapons they use to launch people from one car on something else, you know what I mean?
Okay,
I like that too. The 7-Ups is another one I really like.
Okay.
With Rob Schneider in that one, and I'm gonna say the Blues Brothers too is in that. Just for the all out destruction of the shopping mall and just total destruction of everything, and I really dig it.
So many cars.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna rank them.
There can't possibly be that many cars in the county.
Yeah,
there's more.
And then they bring more and they crash them into everything. It's so fun.
I'm surprised you didn't say Smokey and the Bandit.
I didn't say Smokey and the Bandit.
I'm kind of surprised because that one was another one that's like one endless car chase and pretty.
It's a good movie.
It's a fun movie. This is a black man talking
Smokey
and the Bandit in all its country music, country bluegrass glory, and all its
his red flannel and his cowboy
and all its sweet what's it? And all its Sally Field sex.
Sally Field,
goodness, is actually a really good movie. It's really fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
All right. John, you got an entry in this?
It's already said.
What do you got?
Mad Max.
Oh, I was really hoping you were going to say it's already said Fast and Furious.
No.
Smokey and the Bandit for sure.
Okay, now Fury Road is a damn good one. I'm glad it's getting some love. Herb, what do you think, man?
I really like that scene in Ronin.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Herb taking it classy.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Ronin was a tough movie to watch because you have to be like a film fan to really sit through that because it's more about like the relationship between these two like hardcore bastards, and I'm just like. I kind of want to see you shoot some
Jean Reno and De Niro.
Jean Reno and Robert De Niro. Robert.
Good one.
No, that was a really good one. I can't really see Jean Reno in anything except for the Professional.
Sure.
And this includes that crappy Godzilla from '98.
Oh my God, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he's in that. He's in that with this.
I only remember the Puff Daddy song.
The Puff.
Hate Me Now,
that was actually a good song and video, which is kind of a shame that it was attached to such a crappy movie.
Oh my God!
The movie,
yeah.
Wait, the song in the movie.
Wasn't it Puff Daddy and Korn?
No,
Ozzy.
It's a.
Are you sure it wasn't Korn?
No, it's a Led Zeppelin cover.
Yeah, Zeppelin.
Oh, that's a Zeppelin cover, but I think it was Puff Daddy with Korn.
No, you're thinking. I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of a different album though.
Okay.
Because I have that one, and Korn actually did the song with Q-Tip with Jonathan Davis.
He also has a song with Ice Cube too, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised. What tripped me out there? Okay, we are way in the left field territory. Yeah. But just a final note I'll say about that is Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest. His real name, like we all know him as Kamal. His real name, like birth certificate, government name, is Jonathan Davis. And that may have been one of the original things to getting them in between.
Okay.
Yep. And you know what? Quick shout out to JM the Thriller Priest for that tidbit. This dude told me that years ago. We're talking a couple decades ago. And at the time, I didn't believe him. I actually looked into it, and I'm like, yo, it's very rare that someone will outright school me.
Especially on hip hop like that.
Well, hip hop, metal,
I like
combined.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, tip the hat to you, sir. Doff the cap. Okay, so I'm gonna kick it over to back to us.
Back to us.
Because I got to see Stranger Things 2.
Boomerang.
Actually, Stranger Things season 2.
Is it a second season or like a sequel? That's what I'm hearing.
It's both, actually.
Okay.
The way Stranger Things is set up, it's pretty much, if you watch an entire season of Stranger Things, it's like one long ass movie.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they call a miniseries does the audience a disservice, because you think, okay, a miniseries is gonna have episodes and episodes and episodes, and I can watch this, come back to it and watch this. Like, no, if you don't watch Stranger Things all the way through, it's gonna screw with your head.
It's like how Daredevil season 2 continues after season 1, or Game of Thrones. Less intricate than Game of Thrones, but more intricate than Daredevil.
Let's see. Mikey wasn't sleeping with his mother while also being molested by the father, and also killing all 3 of his friends. And then 11 didn't come back, but she's actually a dragon. And then
yeah.
Game of Thrones is screw. Oh, you would watch. I'd watch that. You watch Game of Stranger Things. Stranger Thrones.
Stranger Thrones.
There
we go.
All right, but no, Stranger Things 2 is the continuation of the story of Stranger Things, the mega hit, I'll call it.
It just
Netflix
seems so weird that everyone's just like drooling over this. It's just like the Goonies.
Well, yeah, people are. Stranger Things was popular, man. Like really friggin'. Wait, actually 2016? Was it 2017?
No, it was 2016 when that came out.
Yeah, it was last year.
Okay, all right, but yeah, Stranger Things was immensely popular. I want to say it did blockbuster numbers for a Netflix series,
which you'll never know because they never release their numbers.
Well, they don't, but the rave. Oh,
yeah. Well, typically Netflix never really produces anything worthwhile watching for their own like homebrewed stuff. I mean, with a few little caveats here and there, but I mean like stuff like Sense8 was like, whatever. And it was a lot of things that were like, whatever. But then Stranger Things came out, and it was, this is actually decent, and it's hitting all that nostalgia stuff. All that 80s nostalgia. It's right there.
It hits note for note. And, I mean, I think they do a good job of the... I think between Stranger Things and the new It movie that came out, Stephen King's It, I think that the 80s wave might be like back in effect. I thought it was kind of falling by the wayside after like games like Fallout, Blood Dragon, movies like Super 8.
That was just the beginning.
They touched on these fads come in waves. They rise and they fall. I thought this one was well in the fall territory, but Stranger Things I think is rocketed back.
Yep.
Which I'm okay with, dude. They did a great job. I thought this was a great homage to that era in time. I thought the set design was beautiful, was spot on. Nothing was like hammy. They weren't saying, "Oh, well, check me out. I got my my Devo shirt and I'm wearing my hat. I've got my Dexys Midnight Runner overalls and I'm going to school." And
funny you should mention that because
you had a Devo hat.
Well, no, watching it felt like Stranger Things season 2 was more out 80s movies and TV shows that were made in the 80s.
Oh yeah, because you could definitely see how much it's trying, and I get it. You know what I mean? They're really trying to cash in on that nostalgia.
Well, you can't really hold up Stranger Things against like Knight Rider and Fall Guy.
Because they picked the soundtrack for
the soundtrack was cool.
A bunch of the different episodes. It was like some really underground stuff I've never even heard of, but like clearly. It was 80s.
Well, they were paying attention, dude. And this, as for the plot itself, Stranger Things Season 2, continues the storyline, but this takes place just under a year, like literally like two weeks under a year from the events of the first season, which you get to see the progression of Winona Ryder's relationship with Will, her long-lost son from the earlier series. How the now somewhat social acceptance of his brother, her son, the older son, Jonathan, the older son, Jonathan, has played out in the school year. The relationship between Steve and I'm gonna look up the names. I want to say
Natalie. It's either Natalie or Nancy.
Well, Nancy, Mikey's sister.
Yeah. Mikey's sister.
Yeah, how that has progressed, and also what the hell happened to 11? 11's the superpowered girl from the first movie, and this one starts off with almost a red herring. For a long time I thought okay, this was just a thing they're thrown in to mess with us, but I really hope it would be the run of the new series because we're introduced right off the bat. This isn't a spoiler because it's literally the first scene.
It's the opening, yeah.
Yeah, we're introduced to another of the kids that were the numbered kids that were experimented on, like right off the bat. And I really hoped that this would be the story of, if not one of the other kids, several of the other kids. You know, we've seen what happened to 11. Now we'll show you number 8, number 6, number 13, number 2. You
that
know,
opening scene, yeah, I'm with you, because it felt like they were leaning towards like, hey, we're gonna steer this towards like an X-Men style.
Dude, I was jazzed. I was like, oh, they're doing a thing.
Yeah, it seemed like it was going in that direction. And later on, there's actually an episode where it pretty much feels like, are they setting up like an X-Men spin-off type of thing? Because it still feels like that for that particular
They might, but
episode.
you know what? It took long enough.
It took a while.
It took so long to get there.
Yeah.
But
so,
Adam, I heard some dissension from you a minute ago. You were
I mean, if it
not
went
a fan?
like the X-Men route where it was like just about these advanced kids, yeah, I don't think I would enjoy that. I like movies with children that are like going on adventures and kind of taking the adult role of finding stuff out. I like smart kids, you know what I mean, going through it. So I was really hoping it goes that way, opposed to like, oh, just following
it does,
sci-fi,
but I think
you know?
it does, but I think it does to the dismay of audience members like myself who saw promise in that, who saw that we've got an 11 story. It was very touching. I mean, this season even ends, Johnny, I'm not to spoil things too much, but it ends on kind of a John Hughes note. And then they throw you back into Stranger Things, but the last full episode, I think, is pretty much like, it's Stranger Things by John Hughes.
Well,
and you'll see why when you get there.
The more realistic stuff. I mean, I embrace the sci-fi kind of out there bits of it.
I'm not opposed to it, but if Stranger Things is going to be both, give me enough of both.
Okay.
And as much as that sounds like a complaint, Stranger Things Season 2 delivered a lot more on that tip than Season 1 did. I was so upset at everyone who like really force-fed Stranger Things 1 down my throat. Because the claims were, this is an amazing show. Oh, God, so wonderful. The story's so intricate. It's so moving. It'll suck you in. And then they got the supernatural little girl and these lovable kids and the relationship between them and everything's really realistic in their dialogue.
I think
I'm like,
my problem.
wow, I got to check it out.
Definitely. Is everyone's just like, oh, my God. I'm like, it's good.
Well, it bored the crap out of me.
Can it be just good? It's so not amazing. It's not like life-changing. It's just like if it's ripping off everything in the 80s. The 80s weren't that great for movies. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Hey, wait a minute. You're right, but no era has been that great for movies. We can romanticize as we look back.
The 70s were great
for
movies.
The 60s were garbage for movies, okay? Have you ever actually sat through more than 3 blaxploitation movies that weren't...
I'm not talking about blaxploitation movies. I'm talking
Brown,
about early Scorsese, early Spielberg, all those guys. Yeah, the 70s were great.
Okay, you know, also, while you had early Scorsese, early Spielberg, you also had mid-stage Weird Al.
Yeah, but
you had late stage. You had late stage Joe Sarno.
In the 70s, but I'm saying generally some of the best movies ever made were from that.
You, my friend, are a victim of your own rose-tinted glasses.
That is not true. Like, I watch these movies still. Like, I'm not like, I wasn't born in, you know, I didn't grow up in the 70s. There's not like I have this nostalgia attached to it.
You know what I feel like? Okay, here's the dichotomy for this show, ladies and gentlemen. This man...
You having bad taste and me having to correct you?
This man knows more about, like, you know, the intricacies of film and background stuff and directors than anyone I've ever met. The problem is, I know you've seen hundreds of movies. I feel you in life haven't seen half of the specifically bad movies that I've seen. Because you've seen tons of movies, but
So you're saying you've seen more bad movies than me? That makes you more pessimistic?
I'm aware of just how much crap exists.
Trust me, I'm aware too. I mean, and I like a lot of the bad stuff too. I don't know.
All right. Well, Stranger Things, surprisingly, in my opinion, I'll just say it now, is not one of those bad things. It does really cast kind of a positive light on the 80s, on the time period it takes place in. But I think that's just to get the story moving into the world of these kids. At the crux of it, Stranger Things is the story of Mike, Will, Dustin, and I forget the brother's name. I want to say Tony.
Of course you forgot.
Well, I forgot the black guy. I forget you, man. What you talking about? Well, anyways, and they introduce a new character, so now there's a new girl in the mix. And how will this play out when Eleven's reintroduced what's gonna go down.
Is she gonna be jealous?
Well, I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Well, we
don't know.
Okay, so apparently Johnny's just like letting cats out of bags here.
Yeah. See, I like the 80s tone too, because it's like if you set a movie now and all the kids are on their cell phones and like smarter than everybody else and like really smug, that's horrible.
I don't know. It feels like it's too Nickelodeon.
Right.
Like Nickelodeon now, I watch it and I'm like, these aren't children. How are they? Oh, wait a minute. No, yes, they are. Because my brother's had a cell phone since I think he was in middle school.
But it's like they're writing dialogue for children.
Pager, and even then, I didn't get one until college. So
yeah, but they're writing dialogue like adults are writing dialogue for children that sound just like adults.
Well, they
still behave. Problem, but these are kids.
Yeah, they still behave like kids. They still
right. No, I'm not talking about this in particular. I'm like most bad movies about kids. They're like because these kids are talking like really articulate adults. It's like that's just not how kids.
Yeah, let's sit and have a chat about dialectical materialism. Like,
well, their intelligence is definitely limited. Like they are, above the average sort of typical kid at their age.
And I think that makes them outcasts too.
It
makes them bullied because they're smarter. That's a truism.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like the biggest achievement that they know of is the high score on Dig Dug.
Dig Dug, yeah.
Playing what's that game? Dynasty Warriors?
Dragon's Lair?
Dig Dug is such an addictive game.
They play Dragon's Lair, you see it, and it's like a big thing to them, These are still kids. I like that. I like the introduction of the new girl, and she has an interesting story that they don't broach. Her name is Max. They don't broach it just yet. Oh, also the acting from these kids is phenomenal,
top notch. Absolutely.
Like this isn't like your I won't say your standard. We've seen a lot of good acting from kids recently, so I think.
And back then too, in the 80s, like Corey Feldman, he was great.
Yes,
as child actor.
Yes, he was genius. Snubbed for the Oscars so many times.
Oh man, come on, he was super popular. He was in a lot of those 80s movies.
I know. I'm thinking about movies like Heavyweights and stuff. Movies like Hook, where you get a couple good performances amidst a lot of crappy performances. These are kids; you can only expect so much from them. But these children now are doing really amazing things.
They outperform.
Very much so.
Yeah. Every single one of them had their own, at least one cry scene. Every single one. At will, they would just go boom, tears streaking down the face. Every single one of them, they had their own moment. Some of them, like 5 times, they would cry. It was like every episode. All right, who's crying now? Oh, they're crying. They're crying.
And
come on, you pussy.
For a while, I thought you gonna sit at the kids. Adam, no chill. No, what I would say is I thought for a while, I could see why they kind of wrote Will out of the first season because this little kid was hemming it up. But then once he does dramatic scenes, they have their strengths and weaknesses. His is general interaction. But when he had to do some dramatic stuff, when you had to worry about him, dude, this kid, there's no way he walked away. He walked away from this like not traumatized.
Yeah.
I imagine they pulled like a full Linda Blair in The Exorcist on this kid because he's gonna walk away with scars. But it was Linda Blair. Have you ever seen The Exorcist?
Yeah.
That movie messed her up, man. They had to masturbate with a crucifix on that side. Did you watch it?
Yeah, of course. That's like
she's
one of my favorites.
All right, well, we'll talk after the show, man. I gotta hip you to some Hollywood history. But Stranger Things 2, dude, I'm impressed because I'm somebody who did not like the first season. I thought it was boring. I thought it was drawn out and overhyped. I thought it was way too into itself when we don't know these characters enough to care about them to the depth that they expect us to. This season, I think is an exponential jump in quality. They got to the action a lot faster. A lot of the supernatural stuff and the danger that we were promised really manifested itself, and I think that's a strong point to make when trying to sell somebody on Stranger Things season 2. The acting from the kids was beautiful. They introduced new characters who really take effect. Paul Reiser, I can't get past Paul Reiser from as Burke in Aliens, the second Alien movie, and he, I guess, knows that because he's owning that to a T in this movie, in this series, and he's perfect for it. You wouldn't expect Paul Reiser. He's a funny guy, right? Mad about you? No, this guy is you want to hate him, and they cast him so perfectly in this. Everyone has a more expanded role. We get more from Winona, believe it or not, more from Winona Ryder, but we also get more from the Chief. We get more from each of the kids. Each one of them has their own individual storyline they're following, and their own individual conflicts, which I think was kind of lacking in the first season. It was mostly Mikey's show.
It was, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And this one we get a lot more from all of them. Dude,
actually, Mikey takes a little bit of a backseat compared to the others, which is good. It was great. I mean, all the other ones.
Johnny hated Mikey.
I mean, it felt too like hokey, ham-fisted, especially with his relationship with 11. But on the first season, but this season they definitely remedied that. I love the relationship between, sort of like the mini feud between Destin and the other friend that we can't remember.
I'm gonna look up his name because he's earned his props.
Yeah, and they were fighting over another new character, and it was that little bickery was just great because it is what kids, friends would do. It was just well done, well acted out. Lucas.
Well, I don't know where I got Tony from, but they introduced new characters as we mentioned, not just Maxine. There's rivals to Steve.
Yeah.
There's different kids. We also find out what the hell happened to Barb. It approaches violence in the home. It approaches keeping secrets from each other and not trusting friends. They introduced Sean Austin, and we like Sean Austin. Sean Austin, he was the kid he was Mikey in Goonies. He was the lead kid in Toy Soldiers. He's Samwise Gamgee in the Lord of the Rings.
He was in Encino Man, dude.
Yeah, he was in Encino Man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
I love how... Wait, was it Encino Man? That was the thing that jogged it for you? I mentioned these great movies, but Encino Man. That guy. Samwise. Okay, all right.
Every time I see him, I'm like, oh man, I need to give him like elven bread or something.
Well, he's in Stranger Things. Great work all around.
As Bob.
As Bob.
I can't forget that name, Bob.
I'm so surprised that I'm so enamored with this because as much as I was like I really felt cheated by Stranger Things season 1. Yep. I highly recommend Stranger Things season 2. Thumbs up, like totally.
Yeah, there are problems with it.
Just go ahead, lay down the hate, Johnny. What do you got?
All right, it's not too bad with the hate, but I felt like everyone knew that Netflix was spending a significantly bigger budget on this, and it felt like the CG work, especially with the big lumbering thing that is not a secret. It was in the teasers and all that. The big tentacle thing. Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely hate the design of it.
This guy with the hatred over here.
It's just
I'm kidding. The
way it's covered in a particular texture, which is not that voluminous smoky cloud that's around it. That to me screams they went cheap on the CGI work, and instead of actually
so? Because when we saw those dogs, the dog-like spider mouth creatures,
those look good. Those look good. Yeah,
those look. I thought they did good work on the CG there. The only thing I think that may have taken out of it, which is not a spoiler to say, but the audience won't know what I'm talking about until you see it. The animation on Dart.
Yes.
I thought animation on Little Dart looked kind of cheap when they did close-up scenes with Dart and Dustin.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. So some of they went a little cheap as far as I feel like they went a little cheap on some of the CGI work, especially the big giant monster, which is a huge letdown because I was expecting something very elaborate.
You've got high expectations for these weird things. You want practical effect. You want them to actually mutate a giant squid and then have it on land to kill these children. That's what you want. This was
one of their big budget movies, or big budget productions, and I expected a big budget production.
You know where the budget went? The budget went to making everything else look as authentic 80s as it did.
It did, and in the acting. So I will give it that. I know where the budget went. It went in the acting and on the set and making everything look so 80s.
Because you don't get Paul Rudd a cheap kids. I'm just
to the detriment. The other thing I did not like, and this is really nitpicking, is that there was way too much product placement.
I really thought you were going to say way too much porn for a second.
Way too much product
placement. I think that stood to hammer home when this takes place. You're talking about the games and stuff, right?
No, I'm talking about Dr. Pepper, the scene with Bob and Will's mother.
Radio Shack. Radio Shack is not exactly a thriving business now.
Dr. Pepper. Right, they're sitting on this bench, and the cut was a close up on both their faces. They're having this dialogue together. And all of a sudden, for the sake of showing off Dr. Pepper, the cut backs out to a bigger picture so you can see them sitting on the bench. And he cracks open. He's holding it perfectly in between the two of them, the Dr. Pepper in his hand, and he very slowly cracks it open. And he has like the smile and this It looked like a commercial. I kid you not. Product placement.
Okay, I guess that could be seen if you're really focusing on those things. And all I'm getting is that Johnny was really thirsty while watching this.
That and Mrs. Buttersworth.
Okay, that one.
Everywhere.
Okay, you're right. But I didn't think of that as product placement. I just thought of that as a missed opportunity to make that someone's having lascivious thoughts about Mrs. Butterworth and the shape of the bottle gag. Because, I mean, the whole thing was these kids were horny the whole... Well, Dustin and Lucas, you could smell the pheromones coming off these two. Like they were just puberty was around the corner for these two, and they were just anyways. Okay, you're right. Those are I guess those are legitimate. I guess when you talk about the product placement, it can take you out of the story if you're paying attention to that stuff. I myself was focusing on everything else. Like I loved that they introduced another one of these children. I love that we actually got to see a life outside of 11's singular experience with how do you grow up with powers. And then when they interacted, that was interesting too. It took kind of a stereotypical, and I mean stereotypical story-wise note, trope-heavy note with that part of the story, but I understand why when they actually got back to the main story. So I can't hate on that because it's like it's something to have a gripe about, but when you can actually see the motivation, understand the motivation, then it seems more of like a nitpick that you can overlook.
Yeah, and overall, I do recommend it. I do give it a thumbs up. It's a little slow to start, but it really starts to ramp up, and the action does pick up and gets really interesting and elaborate, and it goes out there and it goes to the places that you want it to go.
Okay, so, we're gonna climb down off the tip of Stranger Things 2 and just let you know it was good.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs
all
up.
around.
Yep.
All right, cool. I'm gonna kick it over to just Johnny.
Yep.
To take us out with, dude, you got to play Super Mario Brothers. Excuse me, Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey.
All right, so Super Mario Odyssey, it's a 3D platformer game. You're playing as Mario. You're running around these fairly decent-sized environments that are open. These are open environments, so these aren't like 2D or very linear structured levels. These are sort of like a big giant sort of chunk of earth with structures in there, and you're sort of jungle gymming your way and jumping around and sort of going through it and collecting these moons that are littered and speckled about the entire environment. And along the way, you have this unique ability, which is your hat. You can throw your hat out, and you can capture. I was wondering about that. You can capture. So if you throw your hat at a particular enemies, and it's most of the enemies, if you throw your hat at them, and you can sort of your hat sort of gets suctioned to their head, wherever their head may be, and you can capture a lot of different weird stuff, and I'll get into that.
Wait, what kind of Mario's like some kind of zombie puppeteer now? He's parasiting these things around?
Yeah, he kind of like sort of possesses things with this hat. So they call it capturing, but it's really like possessing. So you throw your hat at some enemy, and all of a sudden Mario gets sucked into it, and you are now controlling that enemy. And whatever that enemy does.
Mario game.
Yes, this is a Mario game. This is one of the weirdest. I'm talking like Mario 2 level weirdness is going on in this game. Really weird stuff. So
you've blown Adam's mind. I mean, we can see it right now.
You go into the enemy, and now you can control that enemy. So if you see like a Hammer Brothers, you are now a Hammer Brothers, and you can throw the hammers with one button, and you can hop around like a Hammer Brother hops around. And all the while, by the way, the kicker is that everything that you capture, it has Mario's hat on it.
Yeah.
But better, it has a mustache. So everything you capture now has a mustache on the front of its face. It is hilarious.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
You can capture bullet bills.
With mustaches?
Yeah, you put your head on.
Wait, how do you capture a bullet, first of all?
You throw your head on it.
But it's moving.
Yeah, it's moving, exactly.
Is it like those giant bullet bills?
It's the giant ones.
Okay, all right.
And the small ones. It's all of them. You can just
throw your head on. Are they shooting at you? How are you pinpointing that shot?
You just throw your hat, and if your hat hits it, boom.
Okay. Now my logical question. Okay, what can you actually do with a bullet bill? It's already like en route to its destination.
You can fly straight, really, really fast, and turn around. But you can't go up or down. And that's just one thing. You can capture, as I said, the Hammer Brothers. You can capture tanks. There's tanks in this game. You can capture a tank and then drive around as if it's like a first-person or third-person tank shooter and shoot, tank shells out of this thing, and you're shooting at other enemies that are littered throughout the level. You can capture Goombas, and you're sort of waddling around as a Goomba.
And be useless as you wobble on the ground.
And if you're a Goomba and you jump on another Goomba, you don't squash them. You hop on their head, so you create like this Goomba tower that you find this lady Goomba and you show her how big your Goomba tower is, and she generates a moon for you.
Does nobody see the implications here? It's like, okay, so you can get your mushroom really big to impress this other lady. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, this is
grow your mushroom.
Yes, this is one of the strangest Mario games out there. So
okay, well, is all this like, how does all this factor into gameplay? What is your objective here? Is it just a statistic simulator?
Yeah, the objective is.
We got a gameplay video somewhere. We'll run on the feed so you guys can actually see this. By the way,
the gameplay is kind of the stereotypical. You have to save Princess Peach because Bowser captured her. And you're chasing them around all around the world. So your world map is at the globe, and you're traveling around the globe on this hat ship. It's a ship in the shape of a hat, and you're traveling around. There's a lot of hats. The game is all about hats.
Okay, so what I'm getting is the princess done been kidnapped again.
Yep.
For like the umpteenth time, and now you're playing Phineas Fogg. You're playing Phineas Mario in Around the World in 80 hat tricks.
Kinda. Bowser captured her because they're going to get married. He's forcing her to marry her.
What's Bowser's deal, dude? No means no.
Well, he doesn't care. He just wants to marry her.
Wow. Okay. Bowser is like that's toxic masculinity at its best.
So he's traveling around.
The whole thing's an allegory.
And every stop that you go to is a kingdom, and inside this kingdom, you have to collect a certain number of moons in order to power up your hat ship in order to get to the next destination as you're trying to catch up and save the princess. And eventually, it leads you to the end of the game, which is this great, fantastic end thing. And then after that, this is just for the main storyline. Okay. Once you do that, you beat the game, and then the credits roll and all that. That's only like 25% of the game. After you do the main storyline stuff, which is about 10 to 15 hours of playing, then the game really opens up. Like I said, that's only like 25%. And new things pop up in all the levels that you just went through, and additional levels come up, and like the game really expands and really fully unlocks itself. So it's a big, massive game that has a lot of stuff going for it. There's some things that aren't so great about it. It has motion controls. Most of it you can avoid.
Those things never work.
They do work. It's like
never work. Yeah.
There's some things that aren't reliable. Like if you're trying to flick your hat up, that one isn't as reliable as just regular flicking your hat or doing like the little flick your hat around yourself kind of thing. But it's fine. It's not required to do the things that you need Mario to do, and you can still throw your hat with a button. So you can most of the motion stuff you can do without actually having to do the motion control stuff. So it's avoidable for the most part, but that is something that I didn't care for. I mean, most people don't like motion controls.
I don't know what kind of hat fetish they developed here.
The main storyline and the main story sequence is easy. And it's not going to be super challenge. There is challenge there, but if you are a Mario veteran or a 3D platformer veteran, it's going to be exceptionally easy. But the difficulty will eventually start to ramp up, and you will start to get challenged after you beat the main story.
Wait, so you have to finish? You have to finish a full game before the game gets. It sounds like worth playing, like a legitimate challenge.
Oh no, it's worth playing throughout the main game.
But you said it's not going to be challenging until you actually beat it.
It's not challenging, but that doesn't mean it isn't fun. It is exceptionally fun. It's like a roller coaster. You're going through a roller coaster. Like all the things, the weird things that you're going through is like this crazy roller coaster ride of highs and lows, or not really much of lows, just what's the next most epic thing. It's like they're trying to
How high can Mario get?
It's like they're trying to one-up themselves every single time. At every single kingdom you get to, they're doing something even more awesome, even more epic. And it all leads to this final ending, which is equally epic and awesome. And then you know, you get into like the true end game of it, which is where the difficulty stuff ramps up. So it's like a really fun, really awesome, really long sort of slight hand-holding adventure that you're going through, and you're gonna have fun all the way through. And then once that's done, then it really opens up. And then if you want that challenge and stuff, it's there. But if you want that challenge stuff immediately, that is kind of like a thing to be wary of. You kind of have to get through the storyline stuff before you can actually start doing the challenging platforming.
Could that be
aspects.
just to like usher you in if you're new to the series?
It is
new to
for
the
that.
game?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It is for that. And there is little things here and there that you have to go out of your way. If you want to challenge yourself, you have to go out of your way to collect to get some collectibles that you can see and that you know exist. And you do have to exert some platforming expertise or skills in order to get to it, but it's optional. So as you're going through the single player stuff, you can still find those areas that have the challenge, but there isn't as much as I would have liked. But I mean, that's like it's nitpicking, but it is something to be wary of. Is that most of the difficult stuff is going to come in later on in the adventure.
All right, so you said fun like 97 times here, so I'm gonna take it you kind of like this game.
Yeah, this is one of the best Mario games out there one of the best since Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2. It isn't
not since Mario was missing.
No, definitely not. It isn't as innovative as Mario Galaxy. So Mario Galaxy, it really innovated with the gravity mechanic that it fully utilized. In this one, the big mechanic is the hat, where you're capturing enemies and then using the enemies, and that is it's very elaborate. Certain enemies you have to capture and use their abilities in order to access new areas, access other collectibles and whatnot. And that's really great. It just felt like Mario Galaxy took the Mario series, it innovated more so than what this one does, but that's not to say that this one isn't innovative, very fun. It's just not to the level of Mario Galaxy.
Oh, so you can say the Mario Galaxy turned the Mario franchise on its head, and then Mario Odyssey turns it back again.
But where Mario Galaxy sort of fails and where this one truly excels is the nostalgia. If you are a Mario fan, holy hell, you're going to find so many nods to the entire history of Mario. It is in there. We're talking 8-bit to modern day, 60, Nintendo 64 Mario.
Bring back those little crab creatures from Mario and the sewers.
Oh yeah,
the little crab ones there.
Everything.
Wait, does it bring back the POW? That's the only thing I need. Just bring back the POW.
Everything you want from Mario and come to expect is in there,
including the POW. Say the words, man.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It's all there. Everything's there, and even all the different like outfits and costumes that Mario has worn throughout the history of Mario.
Snap! You mean I can get that frog suit back?
I haven't come across it.
Okay.
But there are
don't dangle that carrot if you can't.
There are frog things that happen very early on.
Frog. Wait, why you say? Wait, what sound dubious when you say? What's this?
You can capture a frog and then become a frog with a mustache and hop around.
Oh,
jeez. Oh yeah.
These people are sick.
There's some very weird things happening in this.
All right. So I take it you're giving this one a solid thumbs down. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it's a solid red thumb down. Now it's blue. It's up. It's way up.
All right. Yeah. All right, it's Mario Odyssey out now for Nintendo Switch only.
For Switch only, it's console exclusive. It's not going to be on anything else. So yeah, if you want to play this exceptional game, you have to get it on Switch. Unfortunately, it would be nice to see it on PC.
Oh, what Nintendo game on PC?
It's not going to happen. I mean, Terran game on any other system is not going to happen. 3DS would not be able to run this. This game looks incredible.
Well, give it till like 2037. Nintendo will start putting out stuff for iPhones. They'll start making apps.
They already made Mario on iPhone.
They did?
Yeah, it came out last year.
Was it any good?
It was actually really good.
Oh, well, shut my mouth. All right, so this has been the Geek Down here on WEMF. I've been Pat B. I want to thank Black Adam Willis, who actually had to duck out a couple minutes early. I want to thank Just Johnny.
Yo.
I want to thank DJ Herbert Herb. And I want to thank and I want to thank you fine listeners for joining us. You can catch us every Monday night. You can also hit us up at geekdownradio@gmail.com and let us know if you have any opinions, anything you heard today. Let us know how right we are, how wrong we are. You got any tidbits for further stories, etc. Also, hopefully you're catching us on geek-down.com in the About section. All the links to our social media is there. You can follow us on iTunes, on Facebook. Damn, okay, Herb's give me the signal. You can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, hit us up on SoundCloud and see like the clips we post there, or the audio form. To subscribe. Check us out, our pretty faces on YouTube. And if you weren't listening and watching, come on, baby, you gotta see us. We are on twitch.tv/thegeekdown. Every week you can catch the show and also see video clips of our antics there. Until next time, be excellent to each other. Peace.